Shame on you. Christopher Tufton stop blaming grieving mothers, says CDE Patricia Duncan Sutherland, President PNP Women Movement, President of the People National Party, PNP, Women Movement, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, is calling on Prime Minister Andrew Holness to ask for the resignation Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, following the heartbreaking deaths of 24 newborn at Victoria Jubilee Hospital since the start of June 2025.
A little bit more came out.
Okay.
Yeah, so, what if you were pregnant and you went to a facility, a hospital, to have your child, and after the baby born, the baby died? What do you feel about that?
Well, I'd be very distraught as we speak. I'm very upset because of my experience that I've had before at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital.
What was the experience like?
I was treated badly when I went there to have my first child.
Yeah, but when you say badly, like?
I was neglected.
So there weren't enough person there to give you attention, to pay attention to you?
Well, the nurse just came and she said that when you feel the pain push, when the pitney bond will come back.
Wow.
That was it.
So just the other day, in June, 24-bit newborn died because the hospital lacked necessary equipment and trained the personnel. So what definitely can you say about that specifically, differently from your experience?
Well, for me, I believe that apart from my experience, I believe that our facilities are lacking in terms of having proper facilities and nurses.
Okay, so who would you hold accountable for that?
I would hold the government and the health minister.
Okay, so Dr. Alfred Dawes, who is the opposition health minister, was very, he was very concerned and, distressed about the situation, and he was making some comment that it is very bad, for example, you're doing a surgery on a person, you don't have the right equipment, and so he was, speaking with Deon Jackson Silvera, but you think that if he was the active health minister, he would do a better job in ensuring that the facility, has the proper equipment, and do you think that he would, make the proper funding so that they can have good trained personnel to handle the situation?
Well, for me, I strongly believe, I don't want to get political now, but I strongly believe that maybe he would, maybe not, I'm not sure. Because people can say anything until the opportunity is given to them, right? But to be honest with you, for over many years, the situation
has existed.
Right, it has existed, but I believe it's worse now.
Okay, so for example, we know that Shaggy always keep a concert called Shaggy and Friends, and the money allocated from this concert was always given to facilities like those, especially the Bustamante Hospital. And for some reason, one of the years, Shaggy decided not to give it because he was saying that, for example, if I gave such money to this hospital for such and such reasons, and then next year I keep the concert and the money is going to be spent back on that same hospital, the money he's not seeing where the money is spent, so he just kind of cut back. So you think if Shaggy was still contributing that it could have helped, or do you think that these political people are taking the money for their own personal benefits and not using it for what it is for?
Well, to me, that's really a rhetorical question, because we all know in Jamaica that that's what they do. Take the monies that are allocated to do a number of things.
What do you think about having a trainee nurse or midwife operating or say delivering a baby?
A trainee should not do that without the supervision of a trained individual.
Okay, so do you think it was just carelessness or just misfortunes for the moms?
I think it's the lack of empathy on the part of the nurse or nurses.
So empathy then. Okay, so do you think that the nurses are working under terrible conditions which cause them to behave in such manner, because maybe less nurses, and one nurse is so distressed that she just give up and doesn't care?
That can be a factor, as well as the nurses at times, they are playing gods. They make themselves into judges and jurors. For example, if a teenager goes in, they are seeing that you should not be pregnant because you're a teenager. They are not saying to themselves that, listen, the child is already pregnant. My duty is to ensure that both patient and the child, thank you, both patient and the child, they are okay, right?
Yeah.
No, they don't do that.
Okay, so it's just ignorance and just...
I think it's the lack of empathy and them playing God's judge and juror, as well as being overworked and tired.
Okay, thank you for your honest opinion.
All right, you're welcome.
Yo, so, yeah, me general, you know, I just ask you a simple question. So what if you have a female, you see, and she's pregnant, you see me, and she go to the hospital, and after the baby born, the baby died, you see me, due to the hospital or the facility not having the right or enough equipment and resources and trained nurse, you see me, to get the job across properly. What you would have said about that? What if the baby died after?
Oh man, then that Ministry of Health problem, man, then them should have the equipment them necessary for you know, to handle them situation there.
So definitely, alright, Ministry of Health, so you hold the government accountable then?
Yeah man.
Okay, okay.
So I feel them job that man.
Okay, alright. Dr. Alfred Dawes, who is the opposition of health, you see me? He's the opposition health minister, you see me? He was very concerned about 24 babies that died at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital, you see me? So if he make some statement and thing, you think that if he were in power or he was the active health minister, he would have done better?
Well, I'm not sure about them, the politics business, you know. I'm not sure about the politics business. I'm not really do politics, you know. Okay. But you know, a change is needed still.
Alright, so do you think that was an act of carelessness or just misfortune?
I would say just carelessness, you know, because them should have, you know, have the equipment them dead.
What you think could have been done to prevent that?
Basically, you know, have more nurse dead.
Alright. If you're, what you think about, so your girl go there, she's pregnant, what you think about having a trainee or you know, or an amateur or a midwife to deliver your child?
Well, nothing wrong if them dead, you know, but somebody dead to supervise them who know the work. Because that's how them actually get for them experience in their work.
Alright, so if the hospital does not have enough skilled personnel or enough equipment and what they them said the birth rate low, you think that kind of threatening to the birth rate and the future generation, meaning that, you know, hospitals not sufficiently, you know, have enough equipment, sufficient equipment?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so what would you say really about the 24 baby that died differently, you know, from what, you know, the minister had to say, and your concerns about that? What was your message to those, you know, 24 ladies who lost their child?
Well, you know, they not too late for try again. You can try again, you know.
Alright, thank you for your opinion, man. Yeah, man, so night again, my general, you see me?
Greetings.
Yeah, man, so we have a couple public interest questions here to ask the man, you know? So, do you think that there should be certain laws that governs the Prime Minister or governs the government itself?
Yeah, man, most definitely, because we need to know where taxpayer money are going, you know. Yeah, man, so most definitely.
Okay, so do you think that on a yearly basis the government should declare what they have to the people and how they come by it, or how he or she, the Prime Minister, come by it?
They should have, because the end of the day we don't want to assume to say, well, alright, they might use our taxpayer money and do this and do that, so they should have declared.
Alright, so do you think the government of wanting to remove the Auditor General from the Integrity Commission, which she's the investigator, she does investigation on the government. So Mr. Holness wants to remove her from the group. Do you think that that's a good act? What do you think about that?
Well, to be honest, no.
That's not why. Why no?
Because if it's a case where the person tried to investigate and you want to move that person, that means you have something to hide.
Okay.
You understand? And Jamaica, what I want to know what I want.
Okay. So do you think that we can trust the Prime Minister, being that he wants to remove a person, such person of public interest, that is so much value, of so much value to the public?
Well, to be honest, that question is really a lot more to elaborate on than that question, you know. Because it's a short-term question. I don't want to say yes and I don't want to say no, because there can be a lot of things behind closed door we don't know about. But based on a man that just listen or see certain things, we are going to say, well, most definitely the Prime Minister had something.
Okay. Okay. So since the people elected the government, and also this committee selects and does audit, and the Auditor General and Integrity Commission itself, since the people selected the government and those people, don't you think that the government or Mr. Owner should ask the people permission to remove the Auditor General?
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
Okay, so the fact that he wants to remove the Auditor General without consult asking the people, and also the opposition does not, the opposition is not with him on that. So being that the fact that he wants to go ahead and he wants to remove the Auditor General without the people consent or the opposition, do you think that he's acting in a form of dictatorship, means he wants to dictate the affairs and the running of the country?
Alright, my personal view, without no political affiliation in terms of not swing to no party on the side, no.
No. Okay, for example, we hear that he has 28 bank accounts. So he raised the minimum wage. Do you think that if he cares so much about the country and the citizens, he should actually donate something from each of those bank accounts to raise the minimum wage to around $30,000 a week? Do you think that he should contribute more to that?
In terms of the minimum wage and his bank account, the question should be, how does how him getting money? How him earning the money? So if it's his personal gain, not our taxpayer money, then I think him free to do whatever he feel like. But if it's not, then I think him need to do something different.
Okay, so you personally, you think it's taxpayers' money, or you think it is by good means he has gained so much money or assets? Or?
Well, to be honest, I'm not going to assume. I'm not sure.
Okay, so based on what you're saying, that means that the Auditor General is so much is so much value to you as a public person by letting you know how the country's money has been handled, or what and what have not the Prime Minister has. So
most definitely.
Okay. So that person should not be removed.
No.
Okay. Thank you for your information.
All right.